Good morning, good morning, good morning. Good afternoon. Hi, Bridget. Happy last Sunday. Evelyn, good to see you in the chat. I'm glad to have you here. You have been missed. All right. Happy Sunday, good people. I'll give it a minute to give folks a chance to join. I'm actually on time this morning, so I may have confused people since lately I have been running behind. I hope everybody is doing well this Sunday. All right. I said I'm ready as I'm getting my stuff together over here. All right, I will go ahead and get started. Hello. WLJ. I will get started and we'll go from there. Good morning. Thank y'all for being here. Hey, Catrice. Happy Sunday to you. As I introduced myself, my name is Jewel. I built a tiny house in 2015 because I want to live and know freedom. And it's fancy because I don't believe you have to give up luxury to go tiny. I am a lifestyle architect and community strategist. Hello, Catherine. And a longtime advocate for intentional living and representation in the tiny house movement. After living tiny for over a decade, I use my experience and my expertise to help others create intentional, self-defined lives through home design, through downsizing, through community. And if you'd like to connect with me, if any of this resonates with me, you will find links to do so in the video description below. And if you aren't subscribed to my channel, please do so. And please also turn on the notifications so that you'll know when I am live over here and things are happening over here. Roslyn, happy Sunday. Happy Sunday to you. Happy Kwanzaa. Absolutely. Hello, Lorraine. Glad to see you all this Sunday. So this Sunday is week 7 of my series, the 7 Sundays to 2026. Good morning. This is our last Sunday in 2026. If you've not been along for the ride, I've been doing a series leading up to 2026. Today is completion and arrival. This is number 7 in the series about integrating and arriving, and we'll talk about that today. I started this with kind of the opening of week 1 was just naming what season each of us are in. And happy Sunday to you. I understand. So that was week 1. And then week 2, we were talking about identity shifts and the quiet transitions, seeing the transitions that are shaping us quietly. It's not always big stuff that's shaping us. Sometimes it's just the small things that we are experiencing that are shaping us. And so that's what we talked about in week 2. And then in week 3, we were talking about the break open, just what happens when life forces clarity. You might not have been anticipating it. You may have felt things coming on, but it is the break open. That's what we talked about in week 3. And then in week 4, we talked about what after that break open happens, after life has forced you into clarity. We talked about the aftermath of that clarity, like what becomes clear to you as you start settling into this season, into this transition that is happening. And then in week 5, we talked about setting your capacity, setting your alignment, because prior to this break open, you've likely been operating in a different capacity that has been maybe even forced by trauma. It's not really the capacity that you should be operating in, or operating in for this season that you're moving into. And so we talked about honoring what you can actually hold, what your capacity, your real capacity is you're moving forward into the new. And then last week we talked about designing what's next, just really orienting around moving forward. This series, if you have been around, kind of mirrors the Becoming series that I did a couple of months ago. It also aligns with, I've shared that I am working on kind of putting my work into an ecosystem that is represented by what I call the off ramp, asking us to leave spaces we don't belong, chaotic world, lives that don't fit us anymore, asking us to leave that and exit, take the exit ramp to peace, to joy, to this new season. And so I am organizing that ecosystem around the work that I do. I have organized my YouTube channel kind of along that way as well, like the methodology of literal highway, taking this off ramp. And this work also for me, as I've stepped into it and I've shared, represents my own healing and clarity journey that I have been experiencing this year, 2025. I've shared what that has looked like for post the stroke in December 2023, what 2024 looked like from a surgeries and healing perspective, and then 2025 has been more around navigating what I call my new brain, and still navigating a medical system that refused to see me as what I was sharing, I was experiencing. We've talked about that, how we have to, especially Black women, Black people have to navigate and advocate for ourselves so much in this hi Geraldine, in the medical system. And so hello, welcome, thank you very much. So this is kind of based on my own journey as I share the work that I've been doing, and just overall like the real human transition process that we all go through, that oftentimes we're going through alone and don't recognize that this is something else other folks are going through as well. And so yeah, that's kind of that's what this series has been about. It is, oh, I said series and my phone thinks, Siri thinks I'm talking to it. I'm not talking to you, Siri. So this is week 7. Week 7 of 7, the 7 Sundays to 2026. Absolutely. Absolutely. This is the final Sunday in the series, the final Sunday, the last Sunday before 2026. And as this series was birthed, I was just looking at the calendar and trying to figure out what my YouTube content would be for the next. I think I was really focused on that next Sunday, and then I realized there were actually 7 Sundays to 2026 left, and 7 has long been understood as the number of completion. It's not ending, but integration, and there's a difference in completion and ending. 7 marks the close of a cycle. 7 marks our readiness to carry forward what we've been learning. And so it was through that awareness. I keep sharing that I see numbers. I see in numbers. That is how I approach these conversations. So today, when we're talking about completion and arrival, again, completion not being an ending, more of integration, and then arrival as a destination, not arriving in that as of this Sunday you should have everything figured out, but arrival also as integration. And when we talk about integration, it is like taking what has been revealed to you in this series and allowing it to reshape how you live without feeling like you've got to rush into action or into performing or into proving. It is just absorbing this clarity that is coming to you. That's beautiful. Hi, Diane. It is allowing this clarity, absorbing it into your life so that it changes how you choose. And WLJ just spoke to that. It changes how you choose. It changes your boundaries. It changes your pace. If you need to slow down, it's changing your pace. This is the clarity. This is what this clarity should be giving to you. And it should be changing your direction, again, just like WLJ shared, in a more sustainable way. So it's not about a moment. It's not about declaring. It's not something that you got to get on the socials and announce as your new you 2026. It's not a new identity announcement. It is integrating because it becomes something that you understand, and it's just something that you start to honor as you start to move and recognize difference. Your behavior starts to change without you even forcing it. Things, you just start to change. Your capacity, as we talked about in one of the weeks, your capacity, you respect that capacity versus overriding it. When we're in trauma, operating in cycles of trauma, we'll just keep pushing and pushing sometimes, even when your body, your mental is saying that's not what we should be doing. Sometimes you'll just keep pushing past that. But this clarity that you're absorbing starts to help you respect your capacity. You, as you've establishing these boundaries, you don't feel the need to explain. The boundaries are just your truth, and you don't have to explain them. And your life starts to fit better because you're honoring what you're learning, even if it doesn't look different on the outside. You feel it different on the inside. And so when we were in the Becoming series was about recognition, seeing who you're turning into. And when we spoke about the break open in one of the weeks, that was really about the revelation. the truth that's coming forward that's now unavoidable. And then the alignment is in the capacity conversation was really about just getting honest with yourself and identifying what you can and can't carry. And in that honesty, it's like there's no shame in what you can and can't carry. And that's the a part that I've really had to focus on. My capacity, my mental capacity is a lot different, which also impacts my physical capacity. And as a recovering, do it all, strong, don't need no help. And that comes from trauma where you end up, you don't need any help because the help's not there. So it feels better just to say, I don't need any help versus I do need some help, but ain't nobody here to help me. So again, that's trauma. Thank you. I love that. So there's no shame in recognizing that your capacity is different. You honor that because you're honoring the new that's coming out. Exactly. And then the integration that we're talking about today is about arrival, where you're letting all of what you've been in the becoming series, what you were working on in that becoming series, what you've been working on in the six prior weeks, you're now allowing all of that to settle into how you will live going forward. And so the integration is really about letting the season finish its work inside you before you move on. So it's not something that on January 1, boom, I got to hit I got to hit the ground running. It's not the on January 1, I'm gonna start going to the gym every day. It's none of that. It is about choosing coherence over speed. And it is the quiet work that we are doing or should be doing that makes our next chapter possible without recreating or continuing to relive our old one. I mentioned that completion is not about ending. It's different from ending. Ending is about stopping. Completion is about integrating. So completion asks questions like, what did this season teach me? What did this season cost me? What did it give to me? What am I no longer willing to override? What truth am I carrying with me now? What did this season teach me? I got a list. What did it cost me? I got a list. What did it give me? And this season, the break open, this work that I have been doing has beautifully given as I've come into the clarity and the alignment. And what am I no longer willing to override? I got a list. What truth am I carrying with me now? I got a list. That's the completion, the integration. It's not an ending. Hi, Coach Donna Marie. And then the arrival again is not live. It's not you see everybody's post on social media where they gonna start deleting folks and who they getting to be in 2026 and all of that. That's not what this arrival is. It is quiet. It's settled. I love that. Thank you. It's not performance. It's just the moment that you realize you are no longer who you were, but you don't have to rush into becoming somebody else yet. It's just happening. And in the Becoming series, as we were talking about arrival, the Becoming series asked, now what? And this week should answer that. The now what? It doesn't mean you have to act now. Your word is 2025 was grace, and 2026 is redemption. Okay, I love that for you. What did it cost me? That's a tough reality. Absolutely. What did it cost me? And once you're willing to put that to paper, that part is hard, because then you recognize in the ways that you haven't honored yourself, in the ways that you have given more than you've received, in the ways you've been operating in a deficit, in the ways you've done yourself a disservice. This is where you're honoring the clarity you gained, the capacity, your direction is starting to form. You're honoring the fact that you're doing this work slowly, you're not rushing it. But you recognize you've crossed into something. You're in new territory, even if nobody else sees it. And oftentimes, as we're making these slow changes, people that are close to you start seeing it. But even if they don't, you know that you've crossed something. And even if it doesn't look dramatically different on the outside, you know. And completion is about honoring that crossing. The part of this is that the big thing about this is if you are still living from the rules and the mode of operation from the previous, if you aren't crossing, if you haven't made that cross yet, you can't move forward honestly, because you're still stepping over in the past, and you have to fully exit that pattern, that who you were, to be able to move forward and shape who you are in this new transition. And so the exit 2 work that I share on YouTube, the exit 2 on my YouTube channel, as I've organized my videos, it is about transitions, alignment, and intentional living. Because in order to move forward, you have to fully exit where you were. The pace, the expectations, the identities, and the survival patterns that no longer fit who you are now. Coach Don is saying vulnerability has been the cost of taking down the mask. The payoff is that I'm now setting boundaries better and taking care of myself better. Absolutely. Geraldine is saying, Bridget said you can't be the bag lady. The nature of being human is to evolve, and living this life means adapting to the changes and challenges we encounter. We can only hope that our adaptations add something meaningful to our lives. I agree. I also agree that people will fight evolution because it doesn't feel comfortable. You're being called, you naturally are expected to evolve, but some people, evolving often means leaving people, places, and things that no longer serve you, and in that it becomes uncomfortable for people, and so they will know they're being called to evolve, feel being called to evolve, but still refuse to evolve because of the work that's required to evolve. So they'd rather just stay in in comfort, unfortunately. Evelyn is saying, I've learned more in the last month about what truly living a full life than I permitted myself to learn the last 4 decades. I understand Evelyn lost a sister, so death does teach you a lot. Absolutely. Yes. So Geraldine is saying whether it's forced on us or it's a natural progression, we have to learn to accept it. And some folks won't do the work. Absolutely. So this week, completion and arrival is not about grabbing the next thing, not about proving growth, not about announcing plans. It's about just arriving, just getting there. Hopefully, if you're doing the work, you've been following the series, you feel maybe calmer than you did 7 weeks ago, clearer. I hope you are starting to be more protective of your energy, less interested in forcing stuff, less available for noise. That's arrival. That's what arrival feels like. And again, some of us choose a word for the year. It's not required. Sometimes you want to have a theme. This work doesn't require that because again, it's kind of quiet. You don't have to make a declaration. You don't have to reinvent yourself. It's not required. It should be what feels comfortable. You just really need to integrate this work, this where you are. And that's what's being asked of us. So for week 7, it's really the simple reflection and ask of what are we carrying forward from this season? What are we leaving behind? And then what does it look like to arrive without rushing ahead? What are we carrying forward? What are we leaving behind? And what does it look like to arrive here in this place without rushing forward? That's what week 7 asks us to consider, to pull out everything that we've been doing over these last 6 weeks and answer those questions. What are we carrying forward from this season? What are we leaving behind? What can't go? People, it could be people, places, and things. I always talk about that. And then what does it look like to arrive here without rushing forward? The calling, the work isn't to push through this and force change. It is to evolve, as Geraldine said, to allow this to settle in once we start getting the clarity. And that's the work. That's the ask. And that's what I got for y'all today. I will say if this series supported you and you want a place to continue this work in a slower, supported way, I always invite you to join us in the Soul Collective community. That is, hi, Audrey. That is, I know I got a link somewhere. That is the space where we do a lot of this work. We do this with supporting each other. Everybody gets to be at their own pace. I'm gonna drop the link in the chat. Um, um, the Soul Collective community is where we are able to get together and do this work. This integration, this clarity, this next chapter design. We talk about tiny houses, but it's not everything tiny houses. As I've shared, my tiny house has been the vehicle. If I speak in my off ramp terminology, the tiny house has been the vehicle to intentional living. And so it's not just about tiny houses. It's about intentional living. It is about alignment. It's about clarity. And so join us in the community. Bridget, we're not on Patreon anymore, baby. We're in Go High Level. We left Patreon. Last Sunday was our last day of Patreon, but I know what you meant. It is same to you. The community. So if you're interested in joining us there, it's okay. There is a 21-day trial that you can join us. And oh, thank you very much. Try it out for 21 days to see if it's for you. I don't, if it ain't for you, I don't want anybody to be there that doesn't want to be there. So there's that. You do get the 21 days to try it out. Last Sunday, being winter solstice, we gathered in community and had a really good conversation. The community allows us to be face to face. Everybody's on Zoom, so we get to see each other, we get to be in communication. And so it's a bit different than me being here on YouTube talking to you all. We get to talk with each other. And so I invite you, if this work resonates, if this feels like something that you want to continue doing, I invite you into our special space so that we can do this work together. And as I close out this series, I thank y'all for being here. Thank y'all for joining me for this series. Thank y'all for reflecting and sharing, and for listening. And if you're doing the work, I thank you for moving through this work in an honest way, because it's hard work. Absolutely. This is the hard work, but a conversation I had with a friend who was mentioning she hates therapy because it's hard work. It's painful, but it's when you get on the other side, it's such a rewarding. And when I say the other side, you can constantly be in therapy, but it's building on breakthroughs. And once you start doing the work and start figuring the stuff out and adding boundaries and that kind of stuff, it's so worth it. And so I encourage all of us to do the work and benefit from the effort of doing the work. All right, good people. I didn't intend to be on with y'all very, very long today. I have had a longer weekend supporting a friend, and I am a bit tired, and I have some work I'm still working on in my personal quest. So I'm going to go take some time to do that. And I hope you all have a beautiful rest of your day and good week. And when we connect again, we will be in 2026. And as I close out 2025, I will do the same encouragement, or offer the same encouragement that I offered in 2024 as we were closing out 2024, to get in community, find you some people, even if it's not the Soul Collective. We Community is everything that we need right now, to support ourselves, to support each other. I am Kiana. I am, and then there are ways to connect with me in the video description. Absolutely. So get yourself with some people to support you going forward. And when I say support, we also talk about reciprocity. So you're giving and you're taking, and they're giving and they're taking. Don't be in community where you're not supported. We're not doing that. So happy Sunday, happy New Year, happy Kwanzaa to all of us. And I hope you all, wish you all the best week ever. And we know we're gonna be good moving into 2026 because we're doing the work. All right, y'all. Take care.